20 R&B stars who were biggest jerks in real life. Do you know that behind those smooth vocals, red carpet moments, and charm of your favorite R&B stars lie shocking stories you were never meant to hear? That some of the biggest voices in music have also been the biggest divas, drama magnets, and downright jerks off stage. Here are 20 R&B celebrities who were the biggest jerks in real life. Number 1 on the list is no one else but man who once said he won't stop, and maybe he should have. Mr. Bad Boy for life, and possibly much worse, 1P. Diddy, aka Sean Combs. P. Diddy has been in the game for decades. Music mogul, fashion king, vodka boss, billionaire. But behind the money, fame, and that million-dollar smile, a long, messy trail of drama, lawsuits, and scandal that makes you wonder if the bad boy brand was more of a confession than a tagline. Let's start with the bombshell that shocked everyone, Cassie's lawsuit. After nearly a decade together, she came out with a lawsuit that sounded straight out of a Netflix documentary. She accused Diddy of controlling her life, isolating her, threatening her, and emotionally tormenting her behind closed doors. Sis said she couldn't leave without paying the price, literally and emotionally. Diddy denied it all, but the case was settled almost immediately. That quick settlement? Red flags anyone. But it doesn't stop there. Over the years, there have been whispers, loud ones, about Diddy's toxic behavior at work. Former staffers and people in his inner circle have talked about a high-pressure, fear-driven environment where Diddy ruled like a king. You speak up, you're out. You breathe wrong, you're replaced. One former employee allegedly said working for Diddy gave them PTSD with diamonds. And don't forget the wild rumors of him using threats, intimidation, and even security teams to keep people quiet. Nothing ever stuck in court, but the streets and the blogs have been talking for years. So what do we have? A legend in the industry, no doubt, but also a man with a reputation that's way darker than his sunglasses at night. Making number 2 on the list is the man who went from being R&B legend to becoming the face of horror. 2. R. Kelly. You probably saw this one coming a mile away. R. Kelly, once hailed as the king of R&B, is now better known as the king of creeps. We're talking about a man who gave us classics like Ignition, Remix, and Step in the Name of Love, songs that used to light up weddings and cookouts. But now, most people hit skip the moment his voice comes on, and for good reason. What we didn't know back then was that behind those smooth vocals was the disturbing truth that R. Kelly didn't just act like a jerk, he was a full-blown predator. For decades, he used his fame, fortune, and charm to lure underage girls into his orbit. He groomed them, controlled them, silenced them with threats and cash, and created what many now call a full-blown sex cult. Yeah, you heard that right, a cult. The most damning part? People knew for years. There were whispers, lawsuits, even a leaked tape back in the early 2000s that showed him doing unspeakable things with a minor. But somehow he kept dodging consequences like he was made of Teflon. That is, until 2019. Thanks to the surviving R. Kelly docuseries, the truth exploded into the public eye. More women came forward. More stories surfaced. And this time, the system finally listened. In 2021, he was found guilty on 9 federal counts, including racketeering, sex trafficking, and abuse of minors. He's now serving 30 years in federal prison, and honestly, he's lucky that's all he got. From Grammy Awards to criminal courtrooms, R. Kelly's fall from grace was epic and long overdue. If there's one person who redefined the phrase "canceled," it's him. He didn't just mess up, he destroyed lives. And now he's exactly where he belongs, behind bars. And then number 3 takes us to the bad boy who just won't behave. 3. Chris Brown. once the sweet-faced teen heartthrob dancing his way into our hearts with Run It, now better known as the walking definition of unresolved anger issues. If R&B had a problem child, Chris would be the poster boy, and let's just say the boy's been busy. It all started with that night in 2009 when the infamous assault on Rihanna, his then-girlfriend, happened, and images of her bruised and battered face stunned the world. He didn't just lose endorsements and fans that year, he lost his image. What followed was a weak apology tour, a little community service, and then, well, Breezy got back to business like nothing happened. And somehow, so did his fans. But that wasn't the end. Far from it. Since then, Chris has been involved in countless altercations, including violent outbursts, club brawls, smashing windows at Good Morning America, and messy public fights with other celebs like Drake and Frank Ocean. And don't even get us started on his Twitter rants, where he's cursed out everyone from fans to journalists like he's auditioning for WWE. Let's not forget the alleged sexual assault case in Paris in 2019, which was eventually dropped, multiple restraining orders, and run-ins with the law over everything from probation violations to drug possession. Oh, and he also painted creepy murals on his home, terrifying his neighbors. Because of course he did. And yet, he still sells out arenas. The music still charts. Women still throw themselves at him like he's Romeo in a leather jacket. It's baffling. Chris Brown may have talent for days, but let's be honest, he also has a temper that's done serious damage. He's the kind of guy who can sing "Take You Down" and actually mean it in the worst way. Number 4 is the woman we all refer to as the Queen of Rap, but no one told us she's also got some Royal Rumble skills up her sleeves. 4. Nicki Minaj. Let's get this straight. Nicki isn't just a rapper. She's a one-woman thunderstorm wrapped in pink wigs and designer heels. Her lyrical skills? Undeniable. But her beef portfolio? Whew! Longer than her discography. We're talking full-on brawls with Cardi B, where shoes were thrown like dodgeballs at a royal gala. Yep, actual shoes. And who remembers the Mariah Carey American Idol Warzone? That wasn't a singing competition, it was two divas in stilettos trading shade like Pokemon cards. Nicki's also coming for Miley Cyrus. Miley, what's good, the iconic, clashed with BET, Travis Scott, Lil' Kim, and even her own fan pages. Sis is not afraid to hit unfollow like a mob boss revoking access. Her Twitter fingers? Legendary. One minute she's hyping up her barbs, the next she's unleashing fury over charts, critics, or anyone who dares breathe sideways. Loyalty to Nicki isn't just expected, it's a blood oath. If you're in, you're protected. If you cross her, pack your things, sweetie. And let's not forget the awkward headlines around her husband's criminal past, or that lawsuit involving her brother. While she keeps dodging direct accountability, Nicki often paints herself as the misunderstood genius in a world full of haters. But here's the twist, she still runs the game. Despite the chaos, the tantrums, and the scorched bridges, Nicki continues to dominate charts, trends, and timelines. Petty, Oh, absolutely, but powerful, you better believe it. She's not just the queen of rap, she's the queen of clapbacks, and her crown is superglued on. And just when you think it can't get messier, wait till you hear what the other celebrities on our list brought to the table. One has a temper, another has a courtroom habit, and the other, well, you'll see. 5. Rihanna. Rihanna is a global icon, chart-dominating artist, beauty mogul, fashion trendsetter. But behind that razor-sharp success is an aloof diva persona that sparked controversies. Remember the Savage X Fenty show where a topless model posed in front of a Hindu temple with Ganesh-themed accessories? That move ignited serious backlash, accusations of cultural insensitivity and tone deafness. And rumors trace even farther back. In 2013, she was reportedly escorted out of a mosque for inappropriate behavior. While she issued apologies, many fans felt they were perfunctory at best. Inside the industry, whispers tell of last-minute rescheduling, dismissive treatment toward lesser-known creatives, and a laser-focused, no-nonsense approach that others call cold or detached. She's a force, but some say fame may have cost her empathy. 6. Miguel. Miguel's voice might sound like raw honey, but behind that dreamy falsetto is a man whose offstage behavior has left more than a few people side-eyeing. Sure, he's got the moves, the looks, and the voice that melts hearts, but apparently the vibe shifts real quick when the cameras stop rolling. Let's start with the dive heard round the world. At the 2013 Billboard Music Awards, where Miguel, who was feeling himself a little too hard, had attempted a stage leap that turned into a WWE takedown. Two fans caught the full force of his legs, and while he brushed it off as just excitement, many felt the apology lacked true accountability. One woman even considered legal action. Yikes. And that's not where it ends. Reporters have noted how Miguel sometimes mocks fans for being too trendy or obsessed with hype culture, painting himself as the deeper thinker above the noise. Cool aesthetic, maybe, but not the best way to stay connected with the people who made you famous. Then there are the studio sessions. One insider described working with Miguel as a game of emotional ping pong. 1 minute, he's laser-focused and brilliant. The next, cold, snappy, and gone. There have been stories of last-minute cancellations, studio tension, and collaborators walking away emotionally drained. Even interviews show a certain distance. Charming? Yes. Present? Not always. That silky smooth stage presence doesn't always translate into genuine connection. Some fans say meeting Miguel felt like approaching a wall wrapped in silk, gorgeous but unreachable. He's got the talent, no doubt. But the whispers behind the scenes paint a picture of a man whose emotional aloofness leaves others feeling burned. Is he misunderstood or just moody with a mic? Either way, we're watching and still listening. 7. Tinashe. Tinashe is the full package. She sings, she dances, she performs like she was born on stage. But somehow, collaboration doesn't seem to be her strong suit. Behind the sleek visuals and killer moves lies a trail of shade, subtle jabs, and industry friction that keeps people wondering, is she misunderstood or just messy? First, let's talk about interviews. Tinashe has never shied away from calling out her record labels, claiming they didn't support her vision, shoved her into pop boxes, or treated her like an industry experiment. Fair? Maybe. But then came the name-dropping. She didn't just critique the system, she called out specific collaborators too, implying some were creatively useless or even toxic. Not exactly team player energy. And don't forget the colorism conversation that exploded. Tinashe openly stated that being mixed race made her feel not black enough and criticized the way the industry favors light-skinned artists. Important conversation? Yes. But here's the twist. Critics were quick to point out that she simultaneously cashed in on the same system she was condemning. Brand deals, beauty campaigns, fashion spotlights, everything she claimed to hate, she rocked it. Hypocrite or hustler? You decide. Then there's the behind-the-scenes buzz. Some dancers and creatives who've worked with her say she comes off cold, controlling, and dismissive. One even joked that rehearsing with Tinashe felt like auditioning for her approval at every turn, and the fans split right down the middle. Some ride hard for her independent spirit, while others say her constant blame game screams, "Mean girl in denial." Tinashe's got the goods, But when every fallout starts to look like someone else's fault, maybe it's time to check the mirror. Either way, the girl's got us talking, and that's a power move in itself. 8. Trey Songz. Trey Songz offers sultry tunes and smooth moves, but his offstage narrative is marred by chaos. In Detroit, he reportedly threw objects, struck a photographer with a mic stand, and punched a police officer after his show was cut short, scenes that earned him probation. That incident wasn't a hiccup. It was a pattern. A string of lawsuits followed, including multiple sexual assault and allegations spanning years. Victims claimed he coerced them in vulnerable moments, and powerful settlements and ongoing court battles confirmed the weight of the claims. Public allegations of domestic violence surfaced too. An ex claimed he attacked her and threw her phone off a cliff during a fight. Even masked defiance at a Kansas City game ended with misdemeanor charges. Fans still love his music, but talk circles around entitlement and unchecked behavior. Beneath that velvet voice, critics say, is a pattern of repeated harm and avoidance of accountability. If this lineup feels heavy, hold tight. Next, we're going to be digging from personal traumas to public feuds. Stay tuned, because it's about to get even more jaw-dropping. 9. August Alsina. August Alsina re-emerged in the public eye not just with music, but with deeply personal headlines. Behind velvet vocals lie stories steeped in tragedy and resilience. He lost his brother to cancer, survived serious spinal issues, and weathered an emotional breakdown. Then came the Jada Pinkett Smith entanglement. When Jada publicly confirmed their relationship in her Red Table Talk, Alsina's world changed overnight. He shared intimate texts, confessed he believed he could be the one for her, even though she remained married to Will Smith. Fans quickly dubbed him a hero of honesty or a reckless attention seeker. He's been accused of erratic behavior, walking off stages mid-song, going silent mid-interview, and drifting out from behind forced smiles during TV appearances. His allegiances to family, faith, and raw expression resonate with many, but his unpredictability, like rescheduling shows hours before doors open, has earned him a reputation among promoters as high risk. Some peers laud his authenticity, others call him unstable, even sabotaging. Behind the headlines of heartbreak and truth, there's an artist whose trauma is real, but whose boundary-pushing choices have made him both relatable and unpredictable. 10. The Dream. The Dream, known offstage as Terrius Nash, brought us erotic anthems and superstar songwriting. But his talent also masks personal controversy. Rumors swirled that while writing hits like Umbrella and Bootylicious, he played romantic angles behind closed doors, most notably with Christina Milian, who alleged emotional manipulation and infidelity during pregnancy. Insider accounts speak of tense studio sessions, endless rewrites, unyielding perfectionism, and an aura of impatience that wore creative collaborators thin. Yet his genius is undeniable. He claims his intensity fuels masterpieces, but others say the line between high standards and cruelty is thin. A former backup singer reportedly said, "Working with him felt like pleasing a king. One misstep, and you feel erased." Meanwhile, a songwriter friend confessed she'd walked off a session in tears from feeling belittled. This dichotomy, brilliantly creative yet emotionally draining, anchors The Dream's reputation as both visionary and tyrant. The music industry respects his instinct, but whispers persist. Does greatness excuse descent into fear? 11. Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese Gibson went from baby boy to blockbuster king, and somewhere along the way, his life started looking more like a messy courtroom drama than a movie script. The man can sing, act, and charm a crowd. But his off-screen antics? Phew. Let's start with the receipts. Tyrese was held in contempt of court for skipping out on over $70,000 in child support, and when he didn't pay up, the judge issued an not exactly model father material, but it goes deeper. His ex-wife dropped accusations, claims of physical abuse toward their daughter, saying he struck her multiple times. Tyrese has strongly denied these allegations, but the court battles and emotional fallout left a public scar. Then came the banner stunt. Under a restraining order, Tyrese sent a plane to fly over school with a banner that read, "Daddy loves you." Heartwarming or manipulative? Depends who you ask, but for many, it's like love and more like legal line crossing. And when Tyrese isn't in court, he's clapping back on Instagram. From throwing shade at The Rock to unloading about racism, exes, and being the misunderstood good guy, he's made his page a digital diary of emotional spirals and martyrdom. Some applaud his vulnerability. Others call it emotional blackmail in real time. In 2023, he sued a major retailer over alleged racial profiling, but critics weren't convinced, labeling him dramatic, entitled, and hungry for headlines. One thing's for sure, Tyrese has range. But these days, it's not just his vocals doing the heavy lifting. It's the drama, the lawsuits, the oversharing. Icon or instability in motion. You decide. Either way, you're still watching. 12. Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill isn't just an artist. She's a movement, a once-in-a-lifetime voice that shook the world with the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. But behind the legacy lies a trail of late arrivals, no-shows, and unpredictable energy that has left even her most loyal fans questioning. Where did Lauryn go? In 2014, fans packed into a venue, jumping with excitement. Minutes before showtime, cancellation. No message, no explanation, just empty air and emotional silence. That wasn't an isolated event. It soon became a pattern where she'd appear hours late, if at all. And when she did show up, the music was rearranged beyond recognition, her speeches cryptic, drenched in talk of spiritual warfare and energy shifts. People paid for nostalgia but got sermons and confusion. Her team hasn't stayed silent either. Former bandmates claim she skipped rehearsals, ignored sound checks, and treated staff unfairly. One crew member even said, "You don't critique Lauryn, she critiques the universe." A genius, yes, but a difficult one. Lauryn has opened up about her mental health struggles, from depression to spiritual burnout. And while many fans deeply empathize, others say the compassion runs thin when tickets are expensive and shows never happen. There's a fine line between creative chaos and professional collapse. Still, her fans hold on. They talk in forums about being hurt but hopeful, disappointed but still in awe. Because Lauryn isn't just an artist, she's a symbol, a beacon for raw truth, black excellence, and creative rebellion. But symbols can shatter under the weight of human flaws. Brilliant? Absolutely. But reliable? Not so much. When you buy a Lauryn Hill ticket, you're not just attending a concert, you're gambling on a mystic experience, or ghosting in real time. We've still got heavyweights to come, and even Queen Bey isn't escaping this list. Want to know how your favorite stars really behave behind the scenes? Then listen up, because the mask is about to slip for real. 13. Chris Brown. Chris Brown is the definition of chaotic brilliance. With vocals smoother than silk and dance moves that rival MJ, he could have gone down in history as the undisputed prince of R&B. But talent alone doesn't erase a rap sheet or a reputation. Since the 2009 assault on Rihanna, the world has watched his public image unravel in real time. There have been arrests for everything from assault to weapon charges, restraining orders, club fights, Twitter feuds, and screaming matches aired live on Instagram. His interviews often start calm and end with something thrown or stormed out. One moment he's dropping back-to-back hits. The next, he's beefing with fellow artists, fans, or his own shadow. In 2016, police swarmed his LA home after a standoff triggered by accusations he pulled a gun on a woman. Charges were later dropped, but the message was loud. Chris can't stay out of headlines. Behind the scenes, producers speak of his unpredictable nature, genius-level creativity that can flip into emotional chaos without warning. Some say working with him feels like walking on eggshells. Others call it electrifying but exhausting. Even his most devoted fans, Team Breezy, admit it's hard to defend his actions, even while streaming his albums non-stop. Yet the industry keeps calling. Why? Because when he's focused, Chris delivers. His artistry is undeniable. His live shows, spectacles, his chart stats, unmatched in his generation. But his inner demons are just as loud as his vocals. Is he misunderstood, or is he just never held accountable long enough to grow? Chris Brown lives in duality, icon and cautionary tale, loved for his gift, feared for his unpredictability. Every comeback feels like deja vu, and for better or worse, he's not going anywhere. 14. Ne-Yo. Ne-Yo rose to fame on charisma and heart-touching hymns, becoming the face of modern romance. But real life wasn't so charming. He fathered children outside his marriage while allegedly pressuring his wife to be sterilized, an act that shocked fans and invited accusations of emotional manipulation. His ex-wife's public revelations painted him as self-serving and evasive. In interviews, Ne-Yo brushed it off as industry stress, but critics say that undermined women's emotional health. Then came comments on gender identity that sparked backlash. Fans felt he spoke without understanding, and his subsequent apology felt lukewarm. Meanwhile, sources say he's been controlling in studio sessions, redirecting ideas harshly, and walking out on collaborators who challenged him creatively. He still sells out tours and headlines festivals, but behind the performer is a man whose romantic narrative has fractured and whose sense of entitlement has sometimes crept into his art. Listeners love his melodies, but these cracks in his armor leave fans asking whether humility can be learned or lost. 14. Erykah Badu. Erykah Badu isn't just a singer, she's a whole frequency. The high priestess of neo-soul has a voice that feels like incense smoke on a summer night, soft, rich, and mysterious. Her music has shaped a generation, and her aura, unmatched. But while fans love her for her spiritual depth and cosmic energy, that same vibe sometimes gets her in trouble. Badu's interviews and tweets often leave people scratching their heads. One minute she's dropping gems on self-love and healing, the next she's defending controversial figures with a calm, "I see the good in everybody" tone. It's not always what she says, but how deeply she believes it, even when it ruffles feathers. When people call her out, she shrugs it off. "You just don't get my frequency." Even within the music scene, not everyone knows how to navigate her energy. Some collaborators praise her as brilliant and transformative. Others, not so much. One fellow artist once said, "Working with Badu is like entering a different universe, and not everyone comes out the same." Translation? She's intense, maybe too intense. On stage, she commands attention with her hypnotic performances and poetic flow. Off stage, she's known for her mystical fashion, incense rituals, and unexpected hot takes. Her fans adore her woo-woo energy, but critics say she's lost in her own world, disconnected from the real one. Is she misunderstood, or is she just comfortable being a walking paradox? Whether you vibe with her or not, one thing's certain: Erykah Badu moves to her own beat, and she's not slowing down for anyone. You either catch the wave or you don't. 16. Beyoncé. Beyoncé, the Queen. A force of nature, From Destiny's Child to the global throne of pop royalty, she's the very image of excellence. Her performances are electric, her visuals are iconic, and her work ethic, unmatched. But behind the spotlight lies a side of Beyoncé that doesn't always glitter. Rumors swirl within the industry about her need to control every single detail, from lighting angles to backup dancers' nail polish colors. Former collaborators whisper that the creative process with her can feel more like obedience school than teamwork. Every second of footage, every lyric, every look seems obsessively curated to protect the brand. It's genius, yes, but also isolating. There was that newsworthy moment when she reportedly pulled out of a major festival appearance just hours before showtime over a minor production issue. The organizers were stunned, scrambling to fix the aftermath. And then there are whispers of artists who were quietly cut from collaborations or edited out of visuals if they didn't match the vision. Some chalk it up to high standards, others call it artistic tyranny. Her fans see a flawless queen, disciplined, focused, unstoppable. But critics ask, at what cost? Does this level of perfection come from passion, or is it driven by fear? Fear of failure, fear of losing control, fear of cracking the image we've all come to worship. Because let's face it, when every move is calculated, rehearsed, and choreographed to feed the Beyoncé myth, it becomes hard to tell where the woman ends and the brand begins. Is she just being excellent in a world that punishes black women for anything less? Or has the pressure to always be perfect turned her into her own prisoner? One thing is clear in Beyoncé's kingdom: perfection isn't optional. It's the law. Think these stories were explosive? Just wait till we jump into this next phase where ego, lawsuits, and raw emotion paint the full picture. Trust me, you don't want to miss the climax. 17. Keyshia Cole. Keyshia Cole didn't just enter the music scene. She tore through it with a voice that carried pain, grit, and the kind of truth people usually hide. Her debut felt like therapy on wax: heartbreak, betrayal, resilience. Listeners connected instantly because she wasn't trying to be polished or perfect. She was raw. She was honest. She was human. But with that emotional transparency came a pattern that's hard to ignore. Keyshia has become almost as known for her conflicts as for her catalog. Public feuds with fellow artists like Michelle Williams and Beyoncé turned Twitter into a battlefield. And then there's the tension with her own family, often broadcasted in real time on her BET reality show. Viewers witnessed blowouts, confrontations, and heartbreaking silences. What was meant to offer a glimpse into her world exposed years of unresolved trauma and deep-seated trust issues. Colleagues and industry insiders have described her as passionate to the point of volatility. She brings her whole self to the room, voice, spirit, wounds and all. But sometimes the lines blur between protecting her peace and pushing people away. There's a guardedness in her that stems from growing up with instability and pain, and it shows. Not in fake smiles, but in how quickly she fires back when hurt or misunderstood. Yet there's no denying her authenticity. She's not pretending to be flawless. She's not hiding the scars. But that same unfiltered presence has made her both magnetic and hard to manage. You can feel her heartbreak in her vocals, and sometimes you feel her heartbreak in her behavior too. Keyshia Cole remains a symbol of truth for many women who were never taught to mask their pain. But the question remains, can unfiltered emotion build longevity, or will it keep breaking the bridges it helps her sing about? 18. Omarion. Omarion has carefully carved out a reputation as the king of inner peace. From meditative Instagram posts to calm interviews where he emphasizes growth, energy, and emotional intelligence, he wears his unbothered title like a badge of honor. But when you peel back that smooth exterior, a different picture begins to emerge, one that reveals tension, estrangement, and a trail of strained relationships. His departure from B2K wasn't the clean-cut career move it appeared to be. Former bandmates claimed he distanced himself not for growth, but for gain, opting to chase solo fame while quietly cutting them off. What fans saw as maturity, those closest to him saw as a calculated move to rebrand. The group's reunion tour resurfaced buried issues, and by the end of it, their dynamic had shifted from brotherhood to business, and not the friendly kind. Then came the unexpected twist. Lil Fizz, Omarion's former bandmate, publicly dated Omarion's ex and the mother of his children. The internet erupted, waiting for a fiery response, but Omarion stayed cool, too cool. While fans praised his composure, some insiders whispered that the silence wasn't strength, it was strategy. A way to maintain control of his image while privately shutting down those who crossed him. People who've worked with him describe him as distant, even dismissive. He's been known to cut off longtime collaborators without so much as a phone call. Emotional conversations? Rare. Transparency? Minimal. The peace and light brand he's built is real, but possibly only skin deep. Omarion is the definition of composed, but in his world, composure might just mean never letting anyone close enough to rattle you. His story is a reminder that sometimes the calmest waters hide the most unpredictable undercurrents. Is it true self-mastery or just well-disguised emotional armor? 19. Raz B. Raz B isn't just a chapter in the B2K story, he's the warning label the music industry keeps trying to tear off and ignore. Among the glitz and teen idol hysteria of B2K's rise, Raz stood out for reasons he never asked for. His outspokenness, especially around the alleged abuse he faced, made him a target not just of internet mockery, but of institutional gaslighting. Branded unstable and problematic, his name became synonymous with chaos, instead of the courage it takes to speak hard truths when no one wants to hear them. Over the years, Raz B's mental health struggles played out on public stages. Tour cancellations, sudden disappearances, emotional videos that quickly went viral. But beneath every outburst or breakdown was a man burdened with trauma that had no safe outlet. He wasn't just fighting inner demons, he was fighting an industry that would rather label him a liability than face its own complicity. What many write off as erratic behavior is actually survival mode. And while the world watched and whispered, few extended the grace his story truly deserves. To this day, Raz carries the weight of being the one who told the truth too early before society was ready to believe him. Yet he hasn't backed down. Despite the backlash, the stigma, and the silence, he continues to push forward fragmented but not finished. 20. Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey, the diva of divas. Vocally unmatched, culturally iconic. And yet often described by former employees and collaborators as a perfectionist with a controlling streak. From outrageous tour demands to behind-the-scenes walk-offs, Mariah's reputation as hard to work with isn't just media fluff. Former assistants have spoken about the emotional roller coaster of working for her. Lavish one moment, emotionally dismissive the next. She's canceled appearances last minute, fired team members over creative differences, and in interviews, sometimes lets her ego do the talking. But make no mistake, her behavior isn't just about entitlement. It's often been a shield, a way of maintaining power in an industry that once tried to control her every move. From her marriage to Tommy Mottola to her public mental health struggles, Mariah has learned to survive by setting her own rules, even if they come at a relational cost. To uncover more intriguing stories among Hollywood celebrities, don't forget to subscribe.